Salut à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans StorySéries, saison 3, épisode 8, pour une série qui s'annonce...
Challenging.
Wild and important.
Fascinating. Extreme provocative.
Fast.
Eye-opening.
Tongue-in-cheek, but serious.
Thrilling.
And relevant.
Cette semaine, on retrouve enfin celui qui nous a fait pleurer des rivières avec The Leftovers et qui revient avec une relecture aussi personnelle que poignante de la cultissime BD Watchmen d'Eamon Lindelof. S'attaquer à Watchmen, pilier de la bande dessinée, créé par le scénariste Alan Moore et le dessinateur Dave Gibbons dans les années 80, ne fait pas peur à Eamon Lindelof. Après tout, le showrunner s'attaque à Dieu lui-même depuis plus de 15 ans, d'abord à travers Lost, puis The Leftovers. Dans sa version de Watchmen, qui se déroule de nos jours, la police se cache derrière un masque pour se protéger d'un groupe terroriste, la 7e cavalerie, qui les tue un par un.
There was a cavalry-involved shooting last night.
You gonna give me the speech now?
What speech?
I should calm down, take a breath before we're at war again.
No. There's a guy in my trunk.
Delightful.
Les notions d'héroïsme et d'anonymat sont revues et tordues pour mieux nous faire réfléchir, et l'intime s'immisce partout, la grande spécialité de Eamon Lindelof.
My father handed me the first 2 issues in 1986, and I was 13 years old, and he said, "You're not ready for this." And then they walked out of the room, and that was the beginning of a great love affair. And so I read all 12 issues back when they came out, and have reread them over and over again for all the intervening years. And now I kind of get to live the dream of trying to put a new spin on the story that I love so much.
This is a stick-up!
Who are you?
Who am I? If I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be wearing a mask.
What do we call a hero? Do we trust the institutions that are meant to protect us? Do we trust the police? Who watches the police? How do we feel about vigilantes? These are all sort of some of the ideas sort of spinning around.
Si le roman graphique affichait la menace nucléaire comme la plus grande crainte de l'Amérique, Eamon Lindelof imprègne sa série de lutte raciale, l'inscrivant profondément dans son époque, l'ère Trump.
Cavalry's back. 3 years of peace, and we convinced ourselves that they were gone. They were just hibernating.
Eamon Lindelof has been a huge fan of Watchmen all his life, so he was very loyal to the spirit of the novel and has carried it forward, and I think made it as relevant to today as the original novel was relevant to the 1980s.
This is a show about fear of the other, fear of those unlike us. In its version of America, which is quite accurate. That deals with race, to a degree immigration, and to a degree sexual identity. But I think that fear of the other, if you look in Europe at the immigration crisis, that's something that pervades the whole world. And so even though this show is specific to something in America, through specificity you find universality, and that's the case here.
Be good?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
And then when you add the issue of people wearing masks, that just compounds that, because wearing a mask gives you this sort of freedom to have no responsibility of your words or your actions, because you're not going to be held accountable because you're supposedly, invisible.
Pretty soon you couldn't tell the good guys from the bad guys because they're all hiding their faces.
Sir, I'm with the FBI.
FBI? Are your civil rights being violated?
Yes, ma'am. They didn't read me my rights.
Okay, sorry. I was just kidding. I don't care.
The mask gives you power to do the things that you would do if no one were able to watch, you know, if no one could track you down, you know, and so there's a lot of possibility of danger and a lot of dark elements that could be birthed out of that possibility of anonymity.
Pour mettre au monde sa version complexe et tentaculaire de Watchmen, Lindelof a réuni sa famille de The Leftovers, donnant le rôle principal à la fantastique Regina King et s'appuyant sur le talent de la réalisatrice Nicole Cassel.
Hello, Detective. Angela, right? Oh, am I not supposed to know who you are?
I would define his work as genius. And I would say that my relationship is with Nicole and Damon, just respect for each other's talent and trust, because we've got the opportunity to work together before Watchmen, and with the show as huge as this, you want to enter into the situation knowing that you can trust your collaborators.
And as a director, his writing is astonishing. There's really no one like it. And to get to work with him, he's very collaborative. So it's truly a creation together, you know, with writer, director, actor. When I read the script, I hung up the phone and called Damon and I said, I see the conformist. I see Children of Men. I see Blade Runner. And I see a Rihanna music video. All there. And he's like, huh, really? And I really saw it. So I put together a visual lookbook that took us through the pilot, starting with the true black and white film, then what 1921 would look like, and then this alternate universe. And I really was inspired by the book in terms of framing. You know, just each panel of a comic is a piece of art, or this one, and a very locked frame. So that's where I got the compositions of conformist and the lighting and extreme wides, extreme close-ups, and the grittiness of the 70s and noir. So those were all the ingredients that went into the look, but it truly came from reading the words.
I've been calling it a gumbo of genres because it's so much that's going on, and it seems as though that shouldn't work, all of those different genres. But for me, as an audience member, when I read this script and I'm reading the scripts, I'm reading it totally from an objective place. It works so perfectly, and I want more. I want more of that gumbo.
Si la série reprend des personnages historiques du roman graphique comme Laurie Blake ou Ozymandias, incarnés par Jean Smart et Jeremy Irons, elle en crée également de nouveaux tout aussi fascinants que mystérieux.
I did have some background of my character, although it was a long time ago, but that was very helpful. Laurie Blake, FBI. You know how you can tell the difference between a masked cop and a vigilante?
No.
Me neither. I knew enough. I was given enough information, and the script was so good that it sort of gave me everything I needed. And she's an interesting kind of solitary person who's sort of on a mission to get rid of the masked vigilantes who she used to be a part of.
Well, I obviously read the graphic novel to learn what I could about him, and read whatever online biographies there were about him, so I sort of saw where he'd come from. But when we meet him, it's quite a few years later. So he's changed a bit, but I could see what he'd done and the sort of man he was. And it's very nice to play characters who you're never quite sure where they're coming from, where they will jump to. They have an enigmatic quality to them. They have a different mindset, a different morality to what you expect sometimes, and that's very interesting to play. So I enjoy that quality of Damon's writing.
My character, from behind a reflective mask, interrogates suspects and learns whether they're telling the truth or whether they're lying. And he's called Looking Glass, and it's a new character in the Watchmen universe.
Are you a member of or do you associate with members of the white supremacist organization known as the 7th Cavalry? Are you a member of or do you associate with members of the white supremacist organization known as the 7th Cavalry? Are you a member of or do you associate with members of the white supremacist group known as the 7th Cavalry?
No. No.
À travers Watchmen et 20 ans après ses débuts de scénariste, Lindelof continue d'explorer ses obsessions, la mort, la perte, la recherche de repères et la croyance, déjà présentes dans ses travaux précédents.
There's a character in Watchmen called Dr. Manhattan who is up on Mars and people are trying to communicate with him and ask him why he's abandoned them. This is a God metaphor, one that I've been very interested in my past work.
Hey, what are you two talking about that's taking so long?
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
I think that I'm always going to be driven to tell the same kind of stories where people are struggling to figure out what the rules are and what they're supposed to do in life. And I'm culturally very interested in the idea of cults and people who think that the end of the world is coming.
Oh, shit!
Nothing ever ends. It's only just begun.
StorySéries, c'est terminé. La semaine prochaine, nous avons rendez-vous avec Brendan Fraser.
Who wants pancakes?
Après des années de blockbuster, l'acteur se refait une jeunesse dans les séries, de The Affair à la très touchante Doom Patrol. Allez, à la semaine prochaine.